Meeting come to order. Call roll.
Mayor Manning.
Present.
Councilman Patricelli.
Present.
Councilman McGrady.
Present.
Clerk, please read the minutes from our last meeting.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we dispense in the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second that.
Accept them as is. Call roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrady.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor. Reports from officers and committees.
Thank you, Mayor. If you recall, back in 2017, we applied for a grant to have a housing needs study done. We did receive the grant at the end of 2017, went out to bid in 2018, and the Chazen companies won that bid. They've been working on the housing study up until now, and tonight I'd like to introduce Chris and Julie from the Chazen companies that will touch on what they've completed so far with the housing study.
Sure. Thank you. Chris Brown with the Chasing Companies. I head our planning division. Julie's in my group, and together we've been working with the city. Thanks, Chris, for the record. Chris Brown with the Chasing Companies. Julie Patricelli's here with me. As Jeremy indicated, we kicked up this project off in August of this year, and really the goal is to help the city to better understand and define its housing needs. Historically, the city's focused on single-family housing rehabilitation activities, and the grant allows the city to explore other housing needs, the issues of affordability, other forms of access to housing. Our scope includes this some sort of public outreach tonight, and Julie's going to talk a little bit about what one of the components of public outreach includes. A community profile. So what we're doing is we're examining the demographics information, housing conditions information, various data that allows us to better understand what is the condition of the city's housing. Is it affordable? Is it in sound condition? And then make some decisions about what are the specific needs that need to be addressed in the community. Part of what we're doing is we've done, you may have seen this on the street, we've done a housing conditions assessment. We've gone door to door, looking externally at housing conditions in order to make assessments about whether certain funding streams would be appropriate for the needs that are out there. We're also looked at the effectiveness of the past programs. We've documented that work. And as part of this, we've seen in talking to Dave Wheatley and Jeremy Smith that there's a strong interest in addressing the needs of seniors and veterans and focusing on those two communities and how do we address those needs. And Julie is going to talk just real briefly a little bit about one of our outreach methods that we're launching tonight. Yeah, feel free.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Julie Pichetti with the Chazen Companies. One of the outreach methods we are instituting is a survey. It's a good old-fashioned survey. We've identified a number of senior citizen-owned homes in the city of Watervliet. So we have a direct mail piece that should be arriving in mailboxes tomorrow and the next day. This survey will also be online. You'll be able to go to the Watervliet homepage, and on the quick link side, click and fill out the survey online as well. The importance of the survey is to identify not only the rehab needs, but to demonstrate interest and demand for future dollars to bring into the city of Watervliet so that Dave Wheatley and Leslie can continue to support and increase the value and improve the housing conditions in the community. So the more responses we get, the more it demonstrates the need in the community, which helps their future efforts to find funding in order to support those improvements community-wide. We're also reaching out to stakeholders, such as Watervliet Housing Authority, Dave, of course, and some of the contractors and other folks in the community, some of the multifamily property owners, to understand what their needs are and what their challenges have been in the past. So again, the housing survey is available online tomorrow, and it should be arriving in about 300 to 400 mailboxes in the next couple of days. Good?
Yeah, I think our goal is, is to prepare a report that identifies those specific needs, a strategy to secure additional funding for not just housing, but also other community development needs like infrastructure. And so the idea is to leverage this information to help you secure additional funding sources. We've had great luck with CFA this last round, and the idea is that this will set a course for 3, 4, 5 years in the future. How do we continue to attract funding to support community development improvements? And so when we have the report, we'll be happy to come here and present the key findings of that. We can do a quick 10, 15-minute PowerPoint presentation and tell you those key findings. Okay?
Chris, what's your expectation for being able to have that final report and be able to come back to the council?
Our goal, I know there's a constraint. The city needs to spend that money and complete the report for the end of the month. And so we're on target to make that happen.
Excellent.
Perhaps we'll be here next month.
Yeah, could be here as soon as next month to share that with you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Question?
That's all that I have for this evening.
Do we have any questions? Chris?
Chris, Julie, Chris, a couple
Field some
questions.
questions?
Sure, absolutely.
I didn't know if anybody had it, but I had a question. You mentioned that you were sending this survey out, the mail survey, to mostly seniors. Is that what it is?
It's targeted. This is not while there's information that we're asking for that is confidential, it's not a community-wide survey. Certain programs have certain target audiences, and that's why we chose, we looked at the real property tax records, we have your rental registry, we have a variety of information, so we looked at both seniors and veterans are the targets. So those are high needs populations, and so what we want to do is that wouldn't preclude us from spending money in other areas, but that was what we want to use is to demonstrate the need.
What about a landlord that may rent strictly to vets? Will they qualify?
Yeah, they would. So the survey may not hit them. So this, just because you respond to the survey and we capture that information, doesn't necessarily make you, the respondent, eligible for the program that we might target. That would happen when we get a funding award, and then we would. So historically, you've looked at owner-occupied, so there is also renter-occupied programs, and there are also programs that would fund a variety of activities besides veterans and seniors, but I don't know if that answers the question.
I bring it up only that I spent a lot of time this past summer walking door to door, and I think the one noticeable need that I saw were the extreme deterioration of porches. Many of them that I found, like, I don't know how you can actually walk up and down some of them, and I didn't find them to necessarily be a senior, need, at the time, and it just concerned me that it just made me think that most of those people probably don't even have the funds to be able to, rehab their own porches.
But so while the mailing's going to this target audience, anybody can complete the survey. So I think we didn't make that obvious. So by virtue of posting,
That's
It's
what I was
important,
asking.
right?
it's posted
Yeah,
on
if
the
you only
website.
have 300 or 400 people you're mailing to, and you only get 20% of them back, you're not going to get a very accurate account of what the
Well,
city needs.
it's not
So if
spe-
anybody can fill it out,
Anybody can fill it out. It's
Online.
available
Yeah.
online.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
That'll
Yep.
make
It's just we're trying to manage the volume of info that goes out there. One of the other methods is sometimes we post it in the newspaper and actually put the survey in the newspaper. There's not a good
Yeah, and
way to make that happen.
And this time of year, it's difficult for seniors to leave their home or read the newspaper, so it was intended to be easier for seniors to be able to respond. Certainly, anyone that has the internet is able to respond.
And I do know, you mentioned in our door-to-door, we were impressed with the quality of housing. We were expecting a lot more dilapidated or structures in need of improvements. And the survey that we did, and we walked 2 days and covered much of the city, it didn't jump out at us. So if there are specific things, we also have the zombie property inventory. The other thing that we do know is that, hey, it's a high prevalence of renter occupied housing. Watervliet, more so than many communities, I think it's in excess of like 55% of my memory. That's really high. That's really high. So we do need to know. We do need to speak to renter needs, right? And empower landlords to go through the programs. We know from our experience, improving housing is it's a long-term process. You guys have a great history of doing that, and we're hopeful that we're going to set you up, that you'll switch between specific targets, whether it's renter and then owner, or first-time home buyers, et cetera. So if we encourage a diversity of programs to be administered here, it's going to pay long-term benefits.
So it wouldn't hurt then for me to send that link out for...
You're going to, my understanding, you're going to send it to your broadcast list that you have. You mentioned 1,300.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
That'd be good. Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as it...
Good question. Our apologies that we didn't clarify.
Clarified it.
Okay, thank you.
Besides being a senior or a veteran, what other qualifications must you meet? Is there financial?
Most of the programs are financially based, and the city is eligible for many of these programs, and then the individual recipients need to also be eligible. That's not to say that there are programs that do address other needs, but the core programs, we're talking about this community development block program that's administered by Division of Housing and Community Renewal. Most of those are income constricted.
And those income limits are based off of the HUD limits.
Yeah, and we know that many people will be eligible for those. That's generally not the problem. It's about finding the activities that are eligible, not necessarily the individuals eligible. That they will fund things like safety issues with stairs and access, and so that's the goal. It's some of those things.
My only concern is that you're saying that there's a confidentiality thing on there, and you're asking seniors to divulge confidential information. A lot of our seniors don't trust to even answer the phone most of the time.
Sure.
Tell marketer. And now you're going to send them a survey, and you want it to be accurate and returned, and I don't think you're going to get the response that you're looking for.
That's fair, and that's a challenge everywhere we do this work. It's not unique to Watervliet. Great. Thanks. We look forward to the future conversation.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. What does that move us to? Old business?
In old business, we have public hearing number 1. Public hearing for the purpose of hearing those persons who wish to be heard regarding the City of Watervliet's proposed housing rehabilitation program.
You gonna intro this, Dave? Dave's gonna make a presentation, and then very similar to the last one, we'll have a public hearing. And it's more formal than the last one, where you'll have to state your name and address for the record.
So this public hearing is in regards to the City of Watervliet's 2019 CDBG Program Income Grant Program. The City of Watervliet, through New York State Office of Community Renewal throughout the years, has been receiving grants. A lot of them have been economic development grants, wherein they would be half grant, half loan. The loans would be paid back to the city. That would be considered program income by the Office of Community Renewal. All along, the city was able to keep that funding and use it to further, through the Local Development Corporation, we were able to further economic development and other CDBG initiatives throughout the city with that funding. Unfortunately, that changed earlier this year. The state has now said, and HUD has now said, that all program income that has been used needs to be fully committed by March 31st of 2019. Any funding that is not fully committed needs to be returned to the state by any cities, towns, or villages that have had it. So in an effort to use our funding, the city has undertaken another housing rehabilitation grant. This program will be about $240,000. It will be following the guidelines of the Office of Community Renewal CDBG Housing Rehab Grant Program. So anybody is eligible for this. Again, seniors and veterans, any homeowner. The homeowner has to be an owner-occupied home. You have to meet the income guidelines, which is 80% of the average income for Albany County. And it's a grant program that's going to meet the primary objective of the CDBG program, which is the development of viable urban communities by providing decent housing and suitable living environments and expanding the economic opportunities principally for persons of low and moderate income. This will help us focus on repair of safety issues and code violations in the homes, make energy efficient upgrades to the properties, and improve deteriorating residential neighborhoods. As I mentioned, it's a program that currently we have about $240,000 total for the program. That number could change. Right now, that's what we're using, that's what we're working off of. Each grant will be up to $25,000 for each homeowner. It will include repairs which could be to your roof or your chimney, your heating or furnace, could help with your insulation of your home or weatherization, your foundation, any plumbing or electrical issues you have, or any foundation or exterior wall issues that you may have at your property. Again, these are all issues. Basically, we focus on health and safety, we focus on code violations, and we focus on energy issues at the property. If you have any questions about this program, you feel free to reach me at City Hall. I am at extension 103. And pretty much, that's a quick overview of the program. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Is the income limit posted somewhere?
Excuse me, you have to, this is a formal public hearing, so you have to state your name and address. Sorry. Could have stayed there, go ahead.
I'm Gail Wood, 806 19th Street. Is the income limit posted somewhere that you could just view it and see if you even want to apply?
The income limit will be posted on the city's website, or it'll be posted on the city's website. That'll be the easiest way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
When can applications be received?
We're accepting applications now. So if anybody has any questions or needs an application, they can reach out to me at City Hall. I'd be more than happy to mail it to you or drop it off at your house, whichever is more convenient. It is on a first-come, first-served basis, and with only about $240,000, it's a very limited grant at this time. And so we probably are only going to be able to help somewhere between 9 to 12 homeowners during this process. So if anybody is interested, I urge you to reach out as soon as possible.
Dave, is it first come, first served, or is it need?
It's first come, first served.
What constitutes a initial application, initial request, full application? Who gets the paper in first? What is it that constitutes?
It has to be a full application. All the documentation has to be included, and all of your taxes, school taxes, property taxes, water and sewer, everything has to be paid and up to date. So if you turn in an application and you're missing a couple pieces of paper, and Jordan turns in his a day later, but he has all his information, we would accept Jordan's first, because his application is in full.
So when you say taxes have to be, you say current or like the
They have to be current.
2019?
That's an issue that we were,
The 2019 property taxes.
The 2019 property taxes just went out. For a situation like this is very unique in the fact that we have to move forward with this as soon as possible. So as long as the 2018 taxes are paid, we will accept that as being paid in full.
600 Third Ave, Watervliet. I was just wondering two things. One is, are we planning on applying for future grants like this? Is there an opportunity to do that? And then the second thing is, it seems to me in the past that if you received a grant, at least some kind of a grant from the city, that you had to commit to being in your house for 5 years, or you paid back a portion of it, and I'm just wondering if that applies to this as well. Thank you.
We do plan the grant programs for CDBG, especially for housing rehab. The notification for fundings usually come out in May, and usually the applications are due in August or so. Those funding rounds are usually announced, and awards are announced in December, and we do plan on submitting another application for that as well. There is a stipulation within the program, and it is a stipulation set forth by HUD and the state, that we have to file a lien on your property for 5 years. That lien depreciates 20% every year. So if you get $10,000 worth of funding and you sell your house after the first year, you would owe $8,000 back, then 6, then 4, then 2, then 0. That money comes off the top of the sale of your house. Sure.
Thanks, Dave.
Anybody else? All set?
Thanks, David.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll close that public hearing. Scott? Keep us up.
Up next, we have public hearing number 2. Public hearing for the purpose of hearing those persons who wish to be heard regarding proposed local law number 1 for the year 2019. A local law to amend Chapter 230, sewers of the Code of the City of Watervliet, regarding establishing and imposing sewer rents for the sewer billing period of November 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2019, and May 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2019.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Jerry, you want to enter this?
Yeah, so we've gone through the water and sewer rents for a couple of months now. Water rents have been approved. For this specific local law for the sewer rents, it does state in there that vacant properties with water shut off at the curb and vacant units within owner-occupied buildings that fill out the proper information with the building department will be billed at 50% of the flat rate. This local law proposal increases the rate for sewer rents by roughly 2.5%, which is equal to $4.56 per unit for the flat rate and $10 for the metered rate minimum. So that's the base information within this local law.
This is our third public hearing actually on it, so we've heard a lot of feedback. Is there anyone who wishes to speak tonight on the subject? Okay. No one wishing to be heard, we'll close the public hearing.
And that's all we have in old business.
All right, let's go to new business.
New business, we have local law number 1 for the year 2019. A local law to amend Chapter 230, sewers of the Code of the City of Watervliet, regarding establishing and imposing sewer rents for the sewer billing periods of November 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2019, and May 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2019.
If you're ready.
Yep.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we move on the local law.
Second that.
Is there any discussion? We will add for the record that with public hearing tonight, I had no comment, so. Anything come up here?
Just a question on, it being that it might go up a few dollars, how are you handling the bill that went out?
So this is for the billing period that begins in November, so the bill won't go out until May.
So
it's May
6
bill.
months behind.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
So it's from November 1st until April 30th, and then that bill
That
goes
bill
out
goes
in
out.
May.
Got it.
Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGratty.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Up next, we have resolution number 9561. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby designates Pioneer Commercial Bank the official depository of city funds during the year 2019.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 9561 as written.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
And you're our official bank, the only one in the city of Watervliet. Makes it easy.
Okay. Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor.
Councilman McGratty?
In favor.
Mayor Manning?
In favor?
Up next, we have resolution number 9562. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby authorizes that the regular meetings of the council during the 2019 year be held at the J. Leo O'Brien facility at 1501 Broadway in Watervliet, New York, or the Watervliet City Court at 215th Street in Watervliet, New York, at 7 p.m. on the first and third Thursday of each month.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor.
Councilman McGratty?
In favor.
Mayor Manning?
In favor?
Up next, we have resolution number 9563. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby authorizes and permits city officials to attend meetings and conferences held during the year 2019.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 9563 as written.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor.
Councilman McGratty?
In favor.
Mayor Manning?
In favor?
Next, we have resolution number 9564. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby designates the order of business for the council for the year 2019.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Just to point out, this is obviously a lot of annual housekeeping stuff, so.
We're going to move along. If you have a question, just stick your hand up and we'll have to get to you. You can call the roll, right? Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor.
Councilman McGratty?
In favor.
Mayor Manning?
In favor?
Up next, we have resolution number 9565. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby designates the Troy Record as the official newspaper of the City of Watervliet for the year 2019.
Motion to accept resolution number 9565 as written.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
I was thinking maybe the Times Union only because they have a larger circulation. And we're complaining the other day that, or not the other day, but in the past, that we don't get people to respond or contractors to respond to our work needed. So maybe they will see it more in the Times Union. That's, no?
Excuse me, you can't hear a word you're saying. I just had a hearing test done to him.
Did everybody else hear me or no?
Pardon me?
He's asking why we don't do the Times Union because it has a bigger circulation. That's what was under there.
That was all.
It's a question. He's thinking out loud. Why don't we do it?
Yeah, my question to the
Primarily.
council is, can we change from the record to the union? That's all.
So the basis behind the official newspaper is that's where our base publications that the council approved go into. So anything that we publish, a public hearing, anything that we put out for bid. If we do go out for bid, it also goes on a bid contractor site as well, so it does get out to others. So it's about the publications. I know Scott did some research, and it's about twice the amount to publish it in the Times Union as it would be in the record.
It's almost probably more than twice the amount, isn't it?
75 cents per line in the TU and right around 40 for the record.
I know it was more expensive.
So there's a cost associated with it. Usually when we publish, it's, you know, we're talking about, 100 lines or so, there's definitely a difference there. In the grand scheme, it could add up, but definitely much wider circulation in the Times Union than the record.
There's nothing to preclude ourselves from publishing it in the Times Union.
As well.
As well. I mean, so to be honest with you, if there was something that was, let's say you were looking for more contractors and more publicity and more, I mean, there are times when I actually published it in papers in Pittsfield.
Sure.
To look for more contractors.
Well, we can address that case by case.
Right.
If it's a special thing that we want, when we have the resolution to advertise it, we can ask for multiples.
Right.
But we have to have an official, and that's just saying that's the official.
Okay, very good. Proceed.
Did we move?
Yeah.
All right, call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrath.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Excuse me. Page 2. Next, we have resolution number 9566. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby adopts the City of Watervliet procurement policy for the year 2019 pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 104.
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we move on this resolution.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Annual procurement policy, no changes from last year's policy.
Very good. Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrath.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Up next, we have resolution number 9567. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves a combined sewer overflow long-term control plan financing intermunicipal agreement.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 9567 as written.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
So the combined sewer overflow is done through the Albany pool communities, which is the cities of Albany, Rensselaer, Troy, Watervliet, Cohoes, and the village of Green Island, as well as the 2 county sewer districts. With that, there was a long-term control plan, which was negotiated with DEC. We talked about CSO, so I won't get too much into how they work, but it was negotiated with DEC as a group. The group continues to do the work in the long-term control plan. It was agreed upon before and approved by the council and approved by the boards from all of the municipalities that are involved. What we're talking about today is a second mechanism to make payments into this IMA or to this Albany Pools communities for the municipalities. So some municipalities had their work done prior to the agreement of the IMA, so there's past monies that are due to those communities, and this is really just setting up the mechanism as to how the monies get paid into the Albany pool and distributed out to these communities. It's no change from our previous financial arrangement for this. Again, it's just the mechanism of which it's being paid to these communities. So, no increase of cost. Actually, there's decrease in cost because of grants that were received.
So this isn't going to cost us any extra. We don't owe anything more than what we agreed to.
Correct. The same as what we agreed to originally.
Because your explanation was...
Believe me,
when you emailed me, I'm looking at it and going,
yes.
Oh boy.
and I preface it with, I'll do the best that I can.
Yeah.
The Albany Pool Communities, it's a great shared services group to have everybody together and everybody working on it. Not to speak for Mike McNeff, but it's an accounting nightmare. It's very difficult to do the accounting, and again, working with 5 other municipalities of all different shapes and sizes that deal with it and have different needs. It's very difficult. Once a month, we sit at a table and spend 4 or 5 hours together discussing this, and you know, a lot of work is done to put it together. It's been great for the city of Watervliet. It has been a cost savings for what we have to do, especially with testing in the river and legal action that needs to be taken and negotiations with DEC to spread it out over the 5 communities. But it is very, very difficult and challenging to work directly with these 5 other communities to make this work. And this actually is 3 years worth of work to put together these credits and debt payments to figure out exactly the mechanism to have them paid. So a lot of hard work done, still a lot more work to go, but it doesn't change what the cost is to the city. The city pays 1.16% of the total program for the long-term control plan.
What was the statement you made in there about Rensselaer?
So there's 2 different ways of doing this. Some that did the work before taking on as credits. So rather than paying their bills, they just kind of get taken off of their tab. And then other 2 communities, Rensselaer and Cohoes, have taken out debt to cover their portions of their projects, and so now it's paying that debt over that period. So just like if we go long-term with debt, it could be over 30 years. So in total, Rensselaer, we will owe about $50,000, and Cohoes, we owe about $12,000 for this whole program. One of the things that was brought up at the last Albany Pool Communities meeting was, rather than pay $700 a year over the next 30 years or whatever it is, could we just pay that money up front? Would it be easier to just pay it up front and then be done with it? that certain portion. So that's one of the options that may be out there, but that will be just between the individual municipalities.
Would certainly be easier, but do we have?
We have obligations over the next 9 years for this, so Mike McNeff and I will be working on what those numbers are and kind of passing it around to the council to see what your feelings are on how to move forward with this. We set it up in 3-year tranche payments for it. The first 3-year tranche payment we bonded with basic serial bonds. That was the recommendation from the Director of Finance at the time. Moving forward, we can always change how we do that or continue to do it the same way.
Okay.
It's a very complicated process with the Albany pool communities, but if anybody ever has 24 hours where they have nothing going on, I'll give you all that information.
Okay, anything else? Call roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor?
Next, we have resolution number 9568. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Novara Geosolutions LLC, with a principal place of business at 575 Broadway in Albany, New York, to host and maintain the City of Watervliet's Geographic Information System interactive mapping application.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
I second that.
Discussion?
This is our annual agreement for our GIS mapping system, both public and we will have a private portion of this as we move forward. We've had this for about 10 years now. It's the mapping system that you can see on the city's website. It's been updated and upgraded, and we will be meeting with the folks from Novara next week to discuss how we can further advance the mapping system to have other things on there, such as our tree inventory may be able to get on there. As well as many other things, especially internal, that we can do, and we're able to do this for a cost of annually of $5,000, which is a very good cost for this, and it's budgeted.
Now you mentioned, you said maybe on the tree inventory. I thought that was a given.
So the tree inventory has its own database.
Yeah.
So we can either keep it there or we can put it onto the city's mapping as well. So just whether we decide to do that or not.
Okay.
Okay, call roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor?
Next, we have resolution number 9569. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves an intermunicipal agreement between the Town of Colony and the City of Watervliet for the removal of garbage, trash, refuse, and recyclables from the Maplewood District of the Town of Colony.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 9569.
I'll second.
Discussion?
So this is what I like to call a win-win between the city and the town. The Town of Colony was faced with some increasing costs for their refuse and recycle removal in the village or hamlet of Maplewood, and they contacted the City of Watervliet to see if we would be able to provide that service for lesser cost. We were able to do so. It's a little bit cheaper than what they would have been paying, and it becomes a revenue for the City of Watervliet. We've already started picking up Maplewood's garbage and recycling. It's going very well just in the first week that we've done it. Of course, a very busy week, being a day and a half behind because of the holidays, but it doesn't slow us down from being able to complete our work. So we're able to do it, and I recommend this resolution to the council.
And no increase in personnel.
No increase in personnel. If we have to use some of the highway guys to help out, like we did this week because we were behind, we can do so, but we don't have to increase personnel.
How much was the contract for?
So it's $39,000 to pick up the refuse. It's an extra $3,000 for the tipping fees for the recycles. But also with that, the Town of Colony allows us to use one of their trucks, so it doesn't put any wear and tear on ours. And also, previously the council approved the solid waste management program, which would cost the city $1,000 a year with the Town of Colony. We do not have to pay that $1,000 a year fee for as long as we do this.
Sounds good.
Okay. Call roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGratty.
In favor.
Mayor Mann.
In favor. Ask a question?
Yes. Being that you're picking up garbage in Maplewood, is that why our garbage didn't get picked up on the regular days?
This week?
This week?
This week was because of the holiday.
Oh, okay. So Maplewood had to wait till.
Yeah. What day were you on?
Thursday.
You're a Thursday, yeah.
Not on Wednesday, and I still have it out there today.
Okay.
So that's
Well-
not the Wednesday, it's still there, so I'll be 2 days late.
Well, that sounds like a miss, so. We'll
What?
have,
How does the city garage men feel about this proposal? Did anybody ask them down there if they could do it, or what
Yep, it
stress?
was- yeah, we met-
How'd they feel about it?
Yeah, we met with the union prior to doing this, to make sure that they were all in agreement with it. Being a garbage man is a very tough job, so they
It
have,
is.
they have,
It is.
you know, they certainly have good days and bad days over there, but they were all for it. We actually had one that volunteered, he said he would do it by himself in Maplewood. Be on the back of the truck by himself and do all the garbage himself, so we haven't heard any, specific complaints from them about that, but, it's all within their, within their working conditions.
Jerry, how big of an area? I know you said Maplewood. You mean the fire district? You mean the school district? Where's the actual?
So it's from the city of Watervliet line, as it goes, it basically ends right before Hot Dog Charlie's.
Okay.
And it goes up Elm Street a little bit, and there's a few areas on Bout Road.
Okay.
One thing that you wouldn't know unless you were looking at the map, there's a lot of streets in Maplewood, a lot of hidden streets in the back corners, which, Chris Dawes called me today and said, yep, we gotta go back, we missed one, because we didn't know that street was there. So it'll take a little bit of getting used to it. It's about 1/10 of the amount of parcels that the city has. It's about a half day's worth of work.
so we have to get, you want to call Chris's line, or you want to have us get a hold of Chris?
I'll get in touch with him.
I assume they're gonna come tomorrow.
Yeah. I was informed that all of Wednesdays was picked up, so I'll have them make sure they
Sounds like a miss, all right.
sneak by your address. Get the rest of it. I know Thursday's recycles were already picked up, so.
Yeah, the
Some of
recycles
them.
picked up.
Okay. So,
My Wednesday recycles was picked up
okay.
today.
The recyclers who picked up the trash, they'll get it tomorrow, like they always do.
Yeah, I'll follow back up with them, but should have
It
been done.
wasn't just mine, my neighbors next door, neighbors on the other side of the road.
Okay.
So it wasn't just mine.
Okay.
And it's still out.
Otherwise, I'd thought it was hard.
Okay.
Call the roll.
No, we already did.
All right.
Up next, we have resolution number 9570. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby authorizes Mayor Michael P. Manning to initiate and implement a Watervliet Downtown Revitalization Initiative Study Project using program income funding not to exceed $50,000 as designated by the New York State Office of Community Renewal and pursuant to Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
Second that.
Any discussion? We should have had Dave comment on this. So this is coming out of the same pool of money that Dave described for the housing rehab program. And this is a study that puts us in a position to apply for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative grant program. The way the state has grants set up now, you can't just apply for a grant. They want to see a professional study done first. And we're going to take a piece of this money that we have to get rid of by March 31st and run the study.
What is downtown?
Well, that'll be part of the study.
Okay.
I mean, we're just using this is their terms.
Okay.
I think we talked about this before. But
It's an economic development study. Make it easier.
that'll have a public outreach. They'll have a public outreach mechanism as well. So perhaps a survey and a vote on what is downtown. Any questions up here? All right. Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGratty.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Next, we have resolution number 9571. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves an agreement for legal services with Goldberger and Kremer at 39 North Pearl Street in Albany, New York, commencing on January 1st, 2019 and ending on December 31st, 2019.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 9571. That's written.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
It's our annual agreement with council that we utilize for any labor needs outside the purview of what the corporation council can.
Discussion? Is there a question? I'm sorry.
All right, what's the difference between Jordan and this particular firm, like what he does in comparison to what this does?
Yeah, I can answer that.
Multiple firms.
So there's going to be two resolutions for two agreements. One, I'll move on since I have it in my head, is for Joanna Gleason, who does the vehicle and traffic matters for the city of Watervliet. And the other is for outside counsel in the event that there are certain litigation matters that require, a particularized need or skill that is outside the realm of what can be done by myself as the legal advisor for the city of Watervliet. So that could involve certain litigation. We're involved in certain litigation at this point, other matters if there's a conflict of interest, and other matters that are needed on a needed basis. So there's one person in my office at City Hall. So if you want to know what I do, is I attend obviously all the council meetings. I write, pretty much the majority of the resolutions, the ordinances, the local laws. I attend the zoning meetings, the planning board meetings. I'm the head of that. I review all contracts, and I'm essentially the in-house legal counsel for the city of Watervliet. So this is an agreement particularly for, litigation matters and other legal services that are needed on a needed basis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else up here? Call the roll.
Patricelli?
In favor?
Councilman McGratty?
In favor.
Mayor Manning?
In favor?
Next, we have resolution number 9572. The council of the city of Watervliet hereby approves an agreement between the city of Watervliet and Joanna P. Gleason Esquire, commencing on January 1st, 2019 and ending on December 31st, 2019.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
I second that.
Any more discussion other than what Jordan had added?
I just have one question. She's a deputy now? I don't believe she was a deputy last year.
She was.
She was?
Yep.
Okay. No more questions.
Okay, call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor?
Councilman McGratty?
In favor.
Mayor Manning?
In favor?
Next, we have resolution number 9573. The council of the city of Watervliet hereby authorizes and approves wireless connectivity / Wi-Fi access at the City of Watervliet Dome located at 1300 2nd Avenue and further adopts the City of Watervliet Wi-Fi terms and conditions.
Question, before anybody makes a resolution, to move on this resolution, though we're going to do a study first before we move forward on the Wi-Fi at the Dome.
A study?
I thought there was going to be a study that, for feasibility, how much it was going to cost, and whether it was really necessary to put Wi-Fi in the athletic facility. And now they're already approving it.
Well, we didn't do anything yet.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Okay. So at the last meeting, we said we were going to look into insurance.
Liability.
Liability and
Which we have, and Jeremy can comment on that if you'd like.
Yeah, so I've been in touch with our insurance agent who, again, as stated, anytime you do anything, there's always a amount of liability that's a part of it. But as far as what we're looking to do at the Dome and having the splash page on there, it really lowers the level of liability of what there is. There was no concerns from our insurance company. I brought up at the last meeting that the two concerns from a management standpoint are cost and liability, so that answered the liability, and cost-wise, it'll be under $500 to be able to provide this.
need for it.
I can't comment on need. I don't use the Dome much anymore.
There hasn't been an official request from any of our contract users to have it. So there's not a real need, but is there a real need for anywhere, I guess. Charles has some comments on it.
Well, I think that, I don't think we were leaving it up to anyone to ask specifically for, you know, the contracts or contractor vendors or anything like that. I think it's an item that's used in worldwide or widely, let's say, used throughout the, you know, the world. I guess internet cafes, every place you go to, Walmart's, Pioneer Banks, every place else like this. There are people out there in this room that probably still has the flip phone and doesn't want to use the internet. That's their choice. There are people out there that's all they do is use the internet, and that's their choice. I think it's not a necessary thing, but it's an amenity that I think attracts and keeps our community technologically advanced. That's my view on it. I think it's archaic, really, to think otherwise in this sense, but it's a personal opinion. We can go on, we can take a vote in this room, and so many would feel in favor and so many feel against it. It's just you know, it's an amenity that I think doesn't cost us anything more than $300, $400, and it would serve a number of people. Your own personal opinion on that would be, you know.
Charlie, couldn't we, would that come into effect if, say, for example, you wanted to hold special events there, where we could broadcast events that are all over the world live, for example, something of that nature?
There's almost anything you can do when you're
I'm
connected to the
saying
internet.
that would be a social event. We could start doing movies or movie night. There'd be a lot of things you could do with it. I don't know if we ever would, but.
And like I said, there's
Olympic, you know, a lot of things. You could do a lot of things for near $500 a year.
So currently there is Wi-Fi at the Dome, there is internet access at the Dome, but it's secure. So that's the difference. This is an unsecure Wi-Fi setup. So anybody that comes in can access it by accepting the terms and conditions on the splash page.
And also, I was also told by Bob that he hands out the password to get on the secured website to people who use it. So to answer your question, there's probably the vendors that are using it are already on the you know, the Wi-Fi.
You know, I was talking, if I may just interject, I was talking to Scott here about Wi-Fi access at Sage colleges, and he brought up a good point on how an individual accesses the Wi-Fi. Could you just explain that again?
Yeah, so the way that one works, you click on, you know, accept the terms and conditions, and then once you accept them, you have to put in your phone number, your mobile phone number. Then that will send you a text message which gives you a PIN number. Then you have to type the PIN number in to access the Wi-Fi.
Maybe something.
There's a couple layers of it.
I didn't know we had it.
I agree that we should have it. We were hoping to have a more comprehensive program than something at the Dome, something here, something there, but until we can make that happen. Yes.
I feel really strong that Watervliet needs to start looking forward instead of playing catch-up. I mean, this is the way of the world right now. Go to Dunkin' Donuts, you go to Starbucks, wherever you go, internet access. So if they're running tournaments, basketball tournaments, soccer tournaments, whatever, and they need scores from other places, it's just part of the package.
Sure. I mean, they're different venues, but.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, another thing too, I agree with the security, you know, how there's a level. But a lot of the folks that might be going there to use Wi-Fi, they may not have a phone.
I've just only used it with my phone. I'm sure if you have a tablet, it's somewhat similar.
I'm just saying that, you know, if you're going there for Wi-Fi, chances are, you know, you don't have Wi-Fi at home, you might not have a phone too, a smartphone. That's all I'm saying. I know.
That's currently not the plan for the Dome. That's just what they do at Sage.
Well, I disagree. I disagree because the reason you're at the Dome is to recreation with your family, to see your family play basketball, to talk to your friends. You know, you're not there all day long. You're there for an hour and a half. You know, why don't you talk verbally with a person next to you instead of texting down the street?
Okay, that's, you know, what I'm thinking is folks might go there just for the Wi-Fi. I'm not thinking of people that are already there for a sporting event. Folks might just come like they come to the library to use it. Or they go to Dunkin' Donuts, or go to all those places just for Wi-Fi.
But it's mainly open for that event. So they're gonna go specifically for an event to use the Wi-Fi just because it's open. Because the dome isn't open all the time, correct?
Correct.
That's just my opinion.
Isn't there a charge to use the dome also? Do the people have to pay to use the dome when they're in there?
For those that use it for private use, yes. So if there's like a team in there that rents it out for just them to use, yes. But when it's open for a basketball league or things like that, then it's open to the public.
So those are the people I was referring to. The people that pay to use it haven't said, hey, put Wi-Fi in. But for $300 and that the salary levels up here, we're spending more than that right now. This discussion.
I'm ready to vote.
We didn't move on it yet. After all that, we didn't move on it. We need a motion.
I'll make the motion. Mayor. I'm going to move on this resolution.
I'm second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. We had some discussion, good discussion. Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
Again.
Mayor Mann.
In favor.
All right, page 3. Here we have resolution number 9574. Council of the City of Watervliet hereby authorizes and directs Scott P. O'Reilly, City Clerk, Clerk to the Council, to advertise in the official newspaper of the city that a public hearing will be held in the J. Leo O'Brien Senior Citizen Center in Watervliet, New York, on January 17, 2019 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of hearing those persons who wish to be heard regarding proposed local law number 2 for the year 2019, a local law to amend Chapter 245, Trees of the Code of the City of Watervliet.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
Second.
Discussion, this is just to announce the public hearing. Need anything more than that?
Yeah, just that, you know, the local law has been drafted, so it's local law number 2, introductory for the year 2019, which is a local law that amends Chapter 245 of the Code of the City of Watervliet. The members of the council have been provided with a draft of the local law, and the local law essentially revises, you know, 3 sections of Chapter 245, Section 245 4B, which changes the fee for obtaining a permit from $50 per tree to just $50, which must be paid upon the filing of the application for the permit. And then there's 2 sections where there's a revision. The tree committee has met. I know Jeremy can speak about this, and I know Ms. Gundrum is here also from the tree committee, who were, I would say, well, lack of a better way to describe it, instrumental in recommending the changes. And what I did was, to the best of my ability, and there's a few drafts that went around, make certain recommendations and included it in the draft with respect to who will remove a tree that were planted, trees that were planted on during the city infrastructures on 19th Street and in bioretention units on 3rd Avenue. So the language is there, it's available to the public, and just wanted to intro it in that fashion.
Okay, and we're going to have a public hearing on it next meeting, eh?
Correct.
Okay. Scott, call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Mann.
In favor.
Next, we have resolution number 9575. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Capital Region IT Incorporated, commencing on January 1st, 2019 and ending on December 31st, 2019, for IT services at the Watervliet Police Department.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 9575.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
So this is our annual agreement with Capital IT. This particular one is for the needs of the Watervliet Police Department. So we have 2, one for the police department, the next one will be for citywide. Capital IT has provided our IT service for multiple years. They've actually built our system. There's no change in cost here. This is a $12,000 cost for the for the PD, and this has been budgeted. I do recommend this resolution to the council.
Good, good. Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Next, we have resolution number 9576. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby approves an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Capital Region IT Incorporated, commencing on January 1st, 2019 and ending on December 31st, 2019.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
Second.
Any more discussion?
This is the citywide agreement for IT service.
Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Next, we have resolution number 9577. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby accepts the proposal from and awards the lead paint risk assessment services contract to Flatley Reed LLC, located in Schuylerville, New York, for the 2018 Community Development Block Grant Housing Rehabilitation Program.
Motion to accept resolution number 9577 as written.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
So previously, we did an RFP for the lead assessment for the housing grant that David presented tonight. We received three proposals that we could accept. One did not meet the proposal guidelines, so they were disqualified. The three that were in there, they were scored on a scoring sheet based on what was in the RFP, and Flatley Reed had the highest score, and therefore is the recommendation for this.
So it's the 2019 program or 2018?
Yeah, so it's 2018 program because that's when it was determined to begin. It will take place in 2019, but it's the 2018 program.
Okay. Gotcha. Any questions? All right. Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Next, we have resolution number 9578. The Council of the City of Watervliet hereby authorizes Mayor Michael P. Manning to enter into agreements with the City of Cohoes, the City of Troy, and the Town of Colony, or other local municipalities for the performance of municipal duties or functions pursuant to general municipal law.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on this resolution.
Second that.
Discussion?
So we have shared service agreements that we do each year with each of these different municipalities. I want to compliment on Jordan on being able to, think about it and put this together as a single resolution, because from time to time things will pop up where we need to work with these other municipalities, and if we don't have the agreement already, it can make things a little hinky when doing so. One instance is Chief Spain had contacted the Town of Colony Police Department to be able to use their drone. They ended up catching, somebody, a criminal because of it. So having this in place right away at the beginning of the year certainly helps out and allows us to do that without the formal resolution or agreement. So thank you, Jordan, for putting this together, and recommend this to the council.
Call the roll.
Councilman Patricelli.
In favor.
Councilman McGrattan.
In favor.
Mayor Manning.
In favor.
Mr. Mayor, that's all, to the best of my knowledge, we have in new business.
All right. Appropriations in the county?
None.
Okay. Anything up here before we go to public comment?
Just a question I had. We've had a lot of problems with phones going down. Is it the outside service? Is it inside? Is it the company? I mean, because I see a lot of these mass texts, that our phone systems are down day after day.
So what we found is it's mostly the wireless that comes into the building, or the files that comes into the building. And what we need to do to keep it going is to reboot the system. So once we reboot the system, it works. But we currently have 3 different companies that provide us with our phone service, because they provide us with different pieces of the phone service. And what we're trying to do is to get to one, so we can have one new updated phone service. And we're working on that, and it's also something that we're working with FRB with. But this is how the FiOS lines come into the city, and if they shut down for some reason, we have to reboot the service, and then it pops right back up.
So this is Verizon?
No, we don't have Verizon in the city
You're
hall.
saying FiOS, you must be.
Yeah.
We have
Fiber, I'm sorry.
Fiber.
I apologize.
Fiber.
The fiber optics, not fibers. We have 3 companies that probably Cornerstone and First Light. So they're the companies that originally put the system in. The system is old and antiquated and could use an upgrade.
It's not that old though, right? I mean, 10 years?
Yeah, that's older technology.
Yeah. Well, for a phone. I just see it quite often. I was just getting a little bit concerned about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
The last few times that it happened, we were just able to reboot the system, which comes back on. We have to put in a ticket or any of those types of things. So we've kind of learned, because it's been happening often, how to deal with situations that arise.
I'm okay.
Good. Okay, we'll go to public comment period then.
At this time, the council has authorized the public comment period. If you wish to address the council, you must step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 2 minutes to address the council on any matters you wish. At the end of your comment, the council may reply or choose to reply at a later date, if they so choose.
Anyone wish to speak tonight?
Hi, Jennifer Sawyer, 1517 Avenue A. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Recently, homeowners received this wonderful thing in our bills. This show how we're going to be fined now if we do not have a trash can lid on our trash cans. I understand that it causes a problem with the crows and everything else like that. Most of us in this city no longer have trash can lids because they were all thrown away by our trash men. I personally don't have a lot of problems with my trash men that come to the house, but I know my neighbors have several issues, and people are losing trash cans and they're getting thrown away. And it seems like there's a constant Facebook barrage bashing the DPW people. This is not going to implement things or make anything better with the way the public foresees DPW to begin with. Also, you guys have offered a $65 trash can that is just, I'm sorry, is out of most people's budget to afford. So there has to be a compromise somewhere. I mean, I understand like alleyways and places like this is just disgusting. But for those of us who do follow, something needs to be done. You know, every week you see something about the DPW and Facebook or on the comments, they threw this or there's videos and that and this and the other thing. Well, we can't keep up with buying trash cans and everything if they're not going to keep up with respecting our property.
Peggy Germano, 1124 7th Avenue, Watervliet. First thing I'd like to say is congratulations to Chief Conlon on your retirement.
Thank you.
Thank you for your years of great service. Well appreciated. And I'd like to have an update on the reservoir, the condition of the reservoir, cleaning it up. So if you could provide that. And one last thing on the garbage. I usually am with the garbage guys because that's a horrible job and I can't imagine anybody wanting to do that job. But I have to say, today I was coming down 13th Street by the old Bruce's and I actually had to get down the side street because garbage cans were all out in the road. I couldn't even navigate the road. So that is an issue. You shouldn't be throwing them in the middle of the road, that's for sure. So that's it.
Real quick, I'll just answer your reservoir update. We're expecting a bid spec to be put together for our final phase of our water infrastructure project through EFC, and within that is going to be a few matters to help with things out at the reservoir, but also through the budget, the council approved $75,000 in the water budget for reservoir maintenance and remediation out there. So there's budgeted amount, and we do have a bid spec coming out. So.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Jeremy, I was asked about recreation out there. Has that been moved along?
That's gonna take a long time. That's updating the management plan for the reservoir. So we'll have to rewrite the management plan and put it in there. There's many different ideas as to what should be done out there, and DEC has some ideas, and I think we as a city would shy away from some of DEC's ideas, putting a lot of possible other contaminants into the body of water. So we're working on it, looking at some of the others that have opened up their reservoirs. But we're very tentative to allow people to touch the water.
And wasn't that also part of the license agreement?
It is part of the license agreement, to put together a
Right,
plan.
okay.
Yep.
Sorry, Paul.
Paul Eubank, 1500 12th Avenue, Watervliet. I'd like to direct my comments to the general manager, being that the council doesn't have to answer. During the middle of summer, I mentioned that there was a pothole on 17th Street. Pothole is still there. Seems as though no one follows through, no one checks on things. We're going to make another statement now. On the corner of 12th Avenue and 19th Street, there is a pothole, pretty deep pothole. Let's see if someone can follow through and take care of the situation. You think that's possible? Not only that, street lights. I know you stated it's cheaper to let the lights burn and fix them, but you have two lights that do not come on at all. And you have a strobe light. Is it possible to get them fixed? I don't know what it is, whether we don't have the funds to take care of this situation, or maybe there's no concern. I think as general manager, I think the responsibility falls on you to be on top of these things and follow through. Could you address that, please?
I agree with you. It falls on me to follow through with these things.
Besides falling on you, do you intend to take care of this situation?
I'll look into each one of these matters, Mr. Eubank.
You will.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
It's the 18th and 2nd. Anybody else? Don, anything? No?
Yeah. Okay. Close the public comment period, and thanks for the intro, and this is Chief Conlon's last official meeting anyway. He's retiring. Last official day is tomorrow, but he's going to be around until then. We thank him for his service and wish him well in his next endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Congratulations. Thank you.
Want to make a speech?
I'm not prepared to speak. But thank you. I've enjoyed my time. Definitely a lot more good days than bad. Obviously, we've had a few. You know, we have a building dedicated to a member of our department who lost their life in the line of duty. I've seen a lot of changes over my almost 23 full years. The department does a lot of good work, and I couldn't be more proud of the job they do. Thank you. I've appreciated my time.
Thanks again.
I just one more thing to ask Jeremy. I'm sorry. There was a request made to me about lighting underneath the bridge.
Yeah. So I've emailed DOT and I haven't heard back from them yet, so I'm going to follow back up with them tomorrow and see. I did go under there and it doesn't look like there's lights there.
No, there isn't. And It's pretty dark though.
So the installation of lights would take longer than if the lights were just out. So,
Right.
I think I left a message for the wrong person, so I'm gonna try and get something different.
I know they got the pole lights up on top, so it's probably just running a conduit if they could, but it can't be, and it's not an easy fix, but it's a fix, it's there.
Yeah, and the study they did on 787, they talked about the 787 ramp at 23rd Street not having good lighting under it, so I mean, they're aware that there's not good lighting underneath the bridges, so surprised that that wasn't brought up as well in the study.
But
You should bring it back up to them. Yeah, I left a message, but I don't think it's the person that handles it, so try and get somebody else.
That's good, thank you.
So we have to adjourn to executive session.
Yeah, I'd like to request that we have a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. With that, I request that City Clerk Scott O'Reilly and Corporation Counsel York Eubank attend as well.
So the council, okay.
I'll second.
Scott, call the roll.
Eubank?
In favor?
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor.
Councilman Grab?
We're adjourning to executive session.
They're the company that originally put the system in. The system is old and antiquated and could use an upgrade.
It's not that old though, right? I mean, 10 years?
Yeah, that's older technology.
Yeah. Well, for a phone, I just see it quite often. I was just getting a little bit concerned about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
The last few times that it happened, we were just able to reboot the system, which comes back on. We have to put in a ticket or any of those types of things. So we've kind of learned, because it's been happening often, how to deal with situations that arise.
I'm okay.
Good. Okay, we'll go to public comment period then.
At this time, the council has authorized the public comment period. If you wish to address the council, you must step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 2 minutes to address the council on any matters you wish. At the end of your comment, the council may reply or choose to reply at a later date, if they so choose.
Anyone wish to speak tonight?
Jennifer Sawyer, 1517 Avenue A. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Recently, homeowners received this wonderful thing in our bills to show how we're going to be fined now if we do not have a trash can lid on our trash cans. I understand that it causes a problem with the crows and everything else like that. Most of us in the city no longer have trash can lids because they were all thrown away by our trash men. I personally don't have a lot of problems with my trash men that come to the house, but I know my neighbors have several issues, and people are losing trash cans and they're getting thrown away. And it seems like there's a constant Facebook barrage bashing the DPW people. This is not going to implement things or make anything better with the way the public perceives DPW to begin with. Also, you guys have offered a $65 trash can that is just, I'm sorry, is out of most people's budget to afford. So there has to be a compromise somewhere. I mean, I understand like alleyways and places like this is just disgusting. But for those of us who do follow, something needs to be done. You know, every week you see something about the DPW and Facebook or on the comments, they threw this, or there's videos and that and this and the other thing. Well, we can't keep up with buying trash cans and everything if they're not going to keep up with respecting our property.
Peggy Germano, 1124 7th Avenue, Watervliet. First thing I'd like to say is congratulations to Chief Conlon on your retirement.
Thank you.
Thank you for your years of great service. Well appreciated. And I'd like to have an update on the reservoir, the condition of the reservoir, cleaning it up. So if you could provide that. And one last thing, on the garbage. I usually am with the garbage guys because that's a horrible job and I can't imagine anybody wanting to do that job. But I have to say, today I was coming down 13th Street by the old Bruce's and I actually had to get down the side street because the garbage cans were all out in the road. I couldn't even navigate the road. So that is an issue. You shouldn't be throwing them in the middle of the road, that's for sure. So that's it.
If I go real quick, I'll just answer your reservoir update. We're expecting a bid spec to be put together for our final phase of our water infrastructure project through EFC, and within that is going to be a few matters to help with things out at the reservoir, but also through the budget, the council approved $75,000 in the water budget for reservoir maintenance and remediation out there. So there's budgeted amount, and we do have a bid spec coming out. So
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Jeremy, I was asked about recreation out there. Has that been moved along?
that's going to take a long time. That's updating the management plan for the reservoir. So we'll have to rewrite the management plan and put it in there. There's many different ideas as to what should be done out there, and DEC has some ideas, and I think we as a city would shy away from some of DEC's ideas, putting a lot of possible other contaminants into the body of water. So we're working on it, looking at some of the others that have opened up their reservoirs. But we're very tentative to allow people to touch the water.
And wasn't that also part of the license agreement?
It is part of the license agreement, to put together a plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, Paul.
Paul Eubank, 1500 12th Avenue, Watervliet. I'd like to direct my comments to the general manager, being that the council doesn't have to answer. During the middle of summer, I mentioned that there was a pothole on 17th Street. Pothole is still there. Seems as though no one follows through, no one checks on things. We're going to make another statement now. On the corner of 12th Avenue and 19th Street, there is a pothole, pretty deep pothole. Let's see if someone can follow through and take care of the situation. You think that's possible? Not only that, streetlights. I know you stated it's cheaper to let the lights burn and fix them, but you have two lights that do not come on at all. And you have a strobe light. Is it possible to get them fixed? I don't know what it is, whether we don't have the funds to take care of this situation, or maybe there's no concern. I think as general manager, I think the responsibility falls on you to be on top of these things and follow through. Could you address that, please?
I agree with you. It falls on me to follow through with these things.
Besides falling on you, do you intend to take care of this situation?
I'll look into each one of these matters, Mr. Eubank.
You will?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
It's the 18th and 2nd. Anybody else? Son, anything? No?
You done? Okay. Close the public comment period, and thanks for the intro, and this is Chief Conlon's last official meeting anyway. He's retiring. Last official day is tomorrow. He's going to be around until then. We thank him for his service and wish him well in his next endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Congratulations.
speech?
I'm not prepared to speak. But thank you. I've enjoyed my time. Definitely a lot more good days than bad. Obviously, we've had a few. You know, we have a building dedicated to a member of our department who lost their life in the line of duty. I've seen a lot of changes over my almost 23 full years. The department does a lot of good work, and I couldn't be more proud of the job they do. Thank you. I've appreciated my time.
Thanks again.
I just one more thing to ask Jeremy. I'm sorry. There was a request made to me about lighting underneath the bridge.
Yeah. So I've emailed DOT and I haven't heard back from them yet, so I'm going to follow back up with them tomorrow and see. I did go under there and it doesn't look like there's lights there.
No, there isn't. And it's pretty dark though.
So the installation of lights would take longer than if the lights were just out. So,
right.
I think I left a message for the wrong person, so I'm going to try and get something different.
I know they got the pole lights up on top, so it's probably just running the conduit if they could, but it can't be. And it's not an easy fix, but it's a fix. It's there.
Yeah, and the study they did on 787, they talked about the 787 ramp at 23rd Street not having good lighting under it. So I mean, they're aware that there's not good lighting underneath the bridges. So surprised that wasn't brought up as well in the study.
But you
should bring it back up to them. Yeah, I left a message, but okay. I don't think it's the person that handles it, so try and get somebody else.
That's good. Thank you.
So we have to adjourn to executive session.
Yeah, I'd like to request that we have a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. With that, I request that City Clerk Scott O'Reilly and Corporation Counsel York Van attend as well.
So the council, okay.
I'll second.
Scott, call the roll. In favor?
Councilman Patricelli?
In favor.
Councilman Grab?
We're adjourning to the executive session.